So today I'm going to be talking to you about the 5 P's of preparedness. Let's get to it. I get asked frequently if there's a method or a system to prepping. And what I like to do is ask them why they are prepping. Because the fact of the matter is most people who start prepping has witnessed something in their own life or witnessed something in somebody else's life that had a profound effect on them that makes them want to begin to prep. So while the why, the when, and the what is going to change for most people, depending on what they have witnessed, the 5 principles of prepping is going to be the same for everybody to help them get through their journey of where they can feel confident in being prepared. Now, each of these categories have several subcategories and several levels to get to the top of that category. But what I have found is that these top 5 is what's going to help set you on your journey. So let's go ahead and address number 1. Number 1, pursue knowledge. Now, we've all heard that knowledge is power and knowledge is king, and there is a reason for that, because knowledge is the most important prep you're ever going to do. Whether it's to get better in your vocation, whether it's to get better in health, better in your relationships, anything you want to do, if you want to progress in life, it starts with knowledge. Now, one of my good buddies, Steve, from over at Prepping in Progress, has a great quote. And what he says is, not only is knowledge free, but knowledge is lightweight. And boy, that is so true. What a powerful prep to have that's going to cost you nothing and is not going to weigh down any pack you have, but can mean the difference in survival and not surviving. Knowledge is going to begin you on this journey. And where I started was I read online books, I read books, I went to the library, I did research online, and that was years and years ago. Well, today there is a vast array of different options to help you get on your knowledge. There's YouTube channels who have great content and great knowledge. You can join Facebook groups. You can follow people on Instagram or Twitter who are a little bit further along than you, who know what they're doing. Just all great ways where you can start building your bank of knowledge. One of my favorite is to find somebody who's just a little further along than you and ask them to mentor you. Most people will mentor you and teach you what they know if you are sincere. Say, hey, will you mentor me? And offer them something back. Maybe they need help with their project and you can help them complete that project while they're mentoring you. So definitely seek out people to mentor you. Another great thing is you can join groups in your local community. There's prepping groups in local communities who meet once a month or meet once a quarter, who go out and who try different things, who practice different skills, who have classes and courses to help each other. And that is a powerful tool to start your knowledge and start learning as you're going. Whatever you decide to do, just determine that you're going to make it a daily habit to learn in some way so you can grow your knowledge. Number 2, prepare. Now that you've got some knowledge under your belt, you need to start preparing. But ask yourself first, what are you preparing for? Is it a local event that happens frequently that you might need to survive for a day up to a month, like storms or local power outages? Or is it more of a regional event that could last from a month up to a few months? Or is it more of a global event that could last indefinitely? Or maybe you just want to prepare and have some leeway if you were to get sick or you were to lose your job. Once you figure out the why, then you can address the how. Now, obviously, there is a multitude of facets that come with preparing, and we're not going to go into them all today, but what I want to do is I want to touch on 3 important things when it comes to prepping and when it comes to preparing. Number 1, we talked a little bit earlier in the first one, and that is knowledge. Number 2 in the preparing category is your body. Your body is an important prep. If you cannot walk down the street without falling out of breath, how are you going to move fast in a survival situation when you might have to have a pack on your back? So take the time to give the body what it needs. Feed it the right food, give it the right diet, and live the right way, because if your body falls, you're not going to last long prepping. And then number 3 is your mental state. And a lot of people overlook this one. Your mental state is going to be very important. And although you have prepared and you've done different things, in a true SHTF situation when you are stressed and you are nervous, it's going to make it a lot harder. And if you don't believe that, ask some of our veterans who have prepared their whole life for certain situations, and then when they go over there to war and the bullets start flying, if they're not together mentally, it is going to make it that much more tougher, and they can fall apart easier. You know, we have all heard that you can go 3 weeks without food, 3 days without water, 3 minutes without air. Well, you might not even last 30 seconds when the bullets start to fly and it starts to hit the fan if you're not emotionally there. One way you can get emotionally there is to have the knowledge, to have the preparation, and to follow the list I'm going to break out in this video, because when you have confidence and you know you can do it, it's going to work wonders in an emergency situation for your mental capacity. Number 3 is practice. You know, once you have started learning some knowledge and once you have started preparing for the situation you want to prepare in, it's time to practice your skills. You need to try out your kits. You need to have emergency drills. I mean, you need to be at work and then play like something happened and you can't use your car and you got to make it home just using your get home bag. You know, have a drill where you just turn your power off for 24 hours to practice. And that might be tougher than you think. You know, go camping, with the rule of you're going to leave real quick like it's an emergency situation. Give yourself 5 minutes to get out and go, and that's going to give you just enough time to get your bug out bag ready and any mobile preps you can get together in 5 minutes. And if you can't do that, then have a weekend drill in your backyard. Either way, any one of those are a good place to start practicing. And then you want to practice your fire kits. You want to practice your food gathering, your trapping, your water filtration, your building of shelters, your keeping warm when it's cold. There are so many things to practice, and each situation, each drill you give you is going to make sure that you've got something that comes up during those drills where you're like, wow, you know what? I didn't have the right preps for that. This would have made this easier. Or I don't know enough about this situation because I couldn't do it over here when I can do it over there. Just those little things that you can tweak and you can get better at is going to help you along the way. I mean, imagine you're going to a Broadway show and none of the actors ever had a dress rehearsal. They never practiced. They never talked to each other. That would be a disaster. Now multiply that in a survival situation where you're actually having to do it for real and you've never practiced, you've never had drills. Boy, I tell you what, it could really scare you to think of what could happen. So get out there and practice. Who cares if you fail in practice? You're practicing so you can get better, and when that situation comes, you won't fail. So be sure to practice every chance you get. Number 4 is perseverance. Like we talked about a little bit earlier in the prepping part, perseverance is big in anything, but especially in prepping. I mean, there's going to be times you run your drills and you fall flat on your face. You're not going to have the right equipment. You're not going to get the fire started. You're not going to get your food. And you're going to come away thinking, oh my gosh, I'm nowhere near ready. Well, hey, don't worry about that. That's actually great. You learn more from that failure in that trial run than you ever could have learned sitting at home wondering and just reading about it. So you got out there and you practiced, and so what? You failed. I'm telling you, it pays dividends to get out there and fail. You know, there's always going to be people who make you feel inferior and who's further along than you. So don't be nervous or skittish when you're out there practicing. Block them out and focus on the why you decided to prepare. You know, people like Bear Grylls and some other survival people are pretty much experts in any situation. But guess what? They fail too, and they've had tons of practice. And what sets them apart is when they fail, they then sit there and say, okay, how can I succeed at that same thing by doing a couple of things different? So as good as Bear Grylls is, probably his 2 best assets is that he perseveres and he has knowledge. He never gives up. All right, number 5 is provide. Now that we have pursued our knowledge, we've studied, we've read up, we're confident in our skills, we've prepared for whatever events we're worried about. We've gone out there and we've practiced these different events. We've persevered through all the failures. Now we can provide. And what I mean by that is we can provide for ourselves, we can provide for our family, our loved ones, our friends. We can provide for strangers and community members. Maybe somebody's going to come and they need a mentor, and you're now in the position to be a mentor. Man, what a great way to give back and pay it forward. Take your knowledge and teach them. You know, there's several times I've been teaching somebody and they've said something that made me question something and it made me better. It's like, hey, you're right. I can use this to do this. So never stop learning. The journey will never end when it comes to knowledge. Look at Steph Curry. He's probably the best shooter of all time in the NBA, and a lot of people think he is. Yeah, he gets out there and he practices day in and day out, hundreds and even thousands of shots. Even though he's the best, he knows he can get better. So if that's good enough for him, it's good enough for me and you. Always continue to get your knowledge. Read up on different things, different scenarios, prepare for them, practice them, persevere through them, and provide for your family through it all. And once you go through these steps, the thing I like about these steps is it's ongoing. You know, you might get master water filtration and go through all 5 of them. Well, there's hundreds and hundreds of other things that you can go through that same cycle. And then you can get better at it. You can cultivate it. And you can make sure that no matter what happens, you are prepared and you are providing for yourself and your family. And I can't think of a better feeling than that. Well, there you go, guys. My 5 P's of preparedness. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel. I'm also going to put a link over here to the 10 things I wish I knew before I started prepping. I appreciate your time, and as always, remember, prepare, survive, and thrive.